Hey guys, it's Courtney here from Lil's Bloom, and this is my third time recording this. So I hope that this works super well and is super clear for you guys because, third time's a charm. And today we're going to be talking about the Aquarius full moon. So let's walk you through what this full moon means. So a lot has been coming intuitively for me about this full moon. I'm going to walk you through each of the signs and how it's going to affect you. So first of all, I just wanted to say that normally when I see a full moon, or when astrologers see a full moon, we think of a culmination. We think of all the things that you've done in the past leading to this point in time, and you can look at your harvest and reap it. So I don't feel like this full moon is quite there. I feel like it's a culmination period amongst many other culmination periods that we will start to see unfold in 2021. And the reason why I say that is because Saturn and Jupiter are going to pass the points where the moon currently is in 2021. And it's then that I believe we're going to start to see the fruition of everything that we've been working on really come into full force. And that's because Saturn is a karmic planet. So whatever effort we've been putting into things, it will give back to us. So when it passes this point for us, we're going to start to see those things really come to life. So this is going to look different for everybody. It's going to be different for everybody's chart. And so one really core aspect of this that I think will be similar across all the charts is the Uranus and Taurus. So this full moon is being squared by Uranus and Taurus. And I think for all of us, that has a certain amount of implications. First of all, I believe that this means that there is going to possibly be some insight or radical, unexpected change in our lives. So we can start to get downloads about stuff. We can start to have opportunities fall in our lap or unexpected events take place that change the course of things or help things unfold in a more dynamic way. The other aspect of Uranus and Taurus that I see is Uranus being a very foundational piece. And so I do believe that for everything to come to fruition in 2021, wherever Uranus is placed is going to be key for us to develop a strong foundation. For everyone, it's in Taurus. And so for everyone, there's a strong need to create a foundation financially. So can we get our survival needs met? Can we get the food, the shelter, the money that we need to survive and thrive? And then later thrive. And then obviously this will also vary depending on which house Uranus is in, which I'm going to walk you through just now. But I just want you guys to keep an open mind with this new moon. And if you have sudden insights and unexpected things happen, just know that it's all working out for you in the long term, and that the things that you've been working on so hard up to this point in time will start to really pay off, I believe in August, but even more so in 2021. Okay, so I'm going to go through each of the rising signs. So if you don't know what your rising sign, what I suggest to do is go to astro.com, click on free horoscopes, natal chart ascendant, and type in your birth information. On the left-hand side, you will see ASC. That is your ascendant, also known as your rising sign. So this right here, the leftmost zodiac sign in the first house is your rising sign. This one is Virgo. Yours is probably going to be different. So that's what you're going to look out for. That's the most important point to analyze a chart by, because the planets will be in certain locations depending on your rising sign. So it's always important to listen for your rising sign. Okay, so for an Aries rising, the moon is happening, this full moon is happening in your 11th house, and you have Uranus in the second house. I also pulled a tarot card. I just got this new deck, Modern Witch Tarot, and I'm just loving it. I think it's so cute. And yeah, I pulled some because I felt like I wanted some more clarity around what you guys have experienced up until this point or what you will experience. And anyway, so you have the moon in the 11th house. For me, this represents you going after your goals in life, your dreams, or even having new friendships happen. But I kind of feel like it's more goal-oriented, especially with Uranus in the second house, because the 11th house is where our hopes and wishes take place. And the second house is everything that we've manifested in our physical reality. Our possessions, our money, our house, all of those things are in the second house, as well as our like sense of identity, our sense of self, our self-worth. Those are also in the second house. So, and also what you guys have going on is Mars and Aries, and this is going to give you a lot of momentum to move forward and take action. Maybe a little bit of aggression as well. So I just gave you all the ingredients, and now I'm going to put it all together for you. So with this full moon happening in the 11th house, I see there being more unexpected changes as far as things taking place in your life and aligning for you to reach your goals. So you might have different goals than before, or you might still be figuring them out, or you might be going through transitions and changes in your friendships, or maybe possibly in the way that you show up for the collective in a more altruistic sense. For example, for like Black Lives Matter movement, that would be an 11th house matter. So there's going to be some change that takes place that possibly has to do with your finances, that needs to lay the foundation in order for your long-term goals to be met. So let's say, for example, my ex-boyfriend has an Aries Rising. I know that one of his goals is to eventually move out to California. California is really expensive. So one of the unexpected changes or the foundation that he needs to lay is going to be around finances. He needs to save up the money in order to be able to go to California. And then with Mars and Aries, this is going to give you the drive and the gumption to go out and achieve those goals. You might also find that you're fighting with people. This could relate to you fighting with friends, just because Mars can be more aggressive, and having a full moon in your 11th house of friendship could cause something like that. But for some reason, I keep focusing on your goals and wishes. But it's interesting because I did pull the Three of Swords, which is about deception, emotional betrayal, or even just being sad about like something happening, you know, like a loss. And when I see this card, I think of a breakup. And it's funny because my ex and I like broke up kind of recently, like a few months ago, so not too long ago. And so for me, this is what kind of took place up until this point in time where you're now having this full moon. You may have had experiences, especially with Mars moving in your sign, where you've had trouble with people, or you've been upset about something, or you felt angry about something, or whatever. And this was a necessary stepping stone in order for you to get clearer and closer to your long-term vision and goals. So whatever heartbreak or whatever trouble emotionally you've experienced in the last few months, I see this as being a necessary stepping stone towards your long-term vision and goals. So just keep that in mind. And at this full moon, it's a wonderful time to sit down and revise how far you've come with your goals, and if you want to change things moving forward. And this Aquarius new moon, Aquarius is all about having like this electric lightning bolt ideas, and it can give you more ideas about how to move forward in a more creative way. So maybe your goals will change, especially given our current economy and everything going with COVID. I feel like there can definitely be changes to everyone's vision for the future. And so maybe this is a good time for you to go back, see what you've accomplished, and then reassess for moving forward. Okay, if you're a Taurus rising, this new moon is happening this full moon is happening in the 10th house of career, and you currently have Uranus transiting your first house. So this is going to be really big for you guys. I see some shifts in identity that's going to culminate into changes in your career. So Uranus in the first for me says that you not only will have shifts in your identity or your health, but also that you have to lay that foundation first in order for the career to really manifest. So I feel like there's going to be new insights coming in for you, or new opportunities coming in for you, but there has to be those internal shifts to make yourself a vibrational match to your future moving forward. And so I pulled the tarot card, Five of Swords for you, which often represents more like disagreements with people, which is interesting because the first house is opposite the 7th. So Uranus is opposite the 7th house of relationships. So it's possible that you could have had some disagreements in relationships, or this could even be more of like an internal dialogue happening with you guys where maybe you're moving through a lot of stuff having to do with your own identity, moving through a lot of personal changes. And it's kind of like there's like a war, internal war going on with you where things are being figured out. And it's just not all clear right now. And so for you guys, I think that the more that you're able to sit with yourself and spend time alone with yourself and reflect and work on personal development, I think that's going to lead to the biggest changes happening for you within your career. And I do see you guys having more unexpected insight in that, or even in your home and family life. Okay, and then looking at Gemini Rising. So this full moon is happening in your 9th house, which is of higher education, travel, learning, teaching, and philosophy, religion, all those sorts of things. So I actually feel like this is a more I don't want to say it's a more introspective time, because Uranus is in the 12th house, and everything in the 12th house is more hidden. And so when there's a square happening here with Uranus, what I'm seeing is that your internal work is happening really behind the scenes. It's happening the most of your work is happening underneath the surface, and a lot of change is happening to you on a soul and spiritual level. And then this is then manifesting with the 9th house for you about having new ideas about life. And I also see you being interested in a lot of different things right now. So I kind of feel like this is an exploratory period where you're discovering new things about yourself and new things, like new opportunities in life in general. The 9th house to me is super expansive. It's the house of personal development. It's the house of exploration and discovery. And so I think it pairs really well with this tarot card, the 7 of Cups, which is about having so many options. Look at how she's looking at all these different cups with all these different things that she can choose from, and she doesn't know what she wants to choose. And I feel like that's what's going on with you guys. You're going to have more insight about what you want to move forward with, I think, coming from this full moon, because I think leading up to this point, you've probably had lots of options, and it's almost like you've had so many different thoughts, so many different ideas going at once that you haven't really had it nailed down. And I feel like in this full moon, you're going to get more clarity and more insight. And for some of you, that just might be continued exploration. And for others, it might be you like having a very specific idea of what you want to do next. Okay, now taking a look at Cancer Rising. So this full moon is happening in your 8th house. And it's funny because I pulled the Devil card for you. And I think that's really fitting for this full moon. Because what's interesting is whenever there's a full moon, there's an illumination of something, right? So like the moon is full, the light is now shining where it's normally dark. And the 8th house is the darkest house. It's the house where we have our subconscious fears, our limiting beliefs, the traumas from past lives. It also has to do with other people's finances. So I do think that finances could play a key in this. But for you guys, I feel like there's a lot being illuminated in your mind, like all of the, like I was saying, the limiting beliefs and subconscious fears that you've been working through. And this is what the devil is. The devil is you getting in your own head, overthinking things or binding yourself. Like these people are bound. It's like you guys are binding yourself in some way with these negative thoughts. And to me, that is what the 8th house is. It's a lot of negative thoughts. And so I think that this full moon will hopefully illuminate that for you guys and allow you guys to have more insights around how to heal this and let go. And I think one of the key foundations for you guys is going to be the 11th house, which is your friendships and also your hopes and dreams for the future. So I feel like laying that foundation with your friends, really leaning on them, and also your dreams and thinking about the future and the happiness that lies ahead is going to be really important for this whole time. So it's going to be a really transformational period of time because the 8th house is nothing but transformation. And I think that this is just the beginning for you guys. And in 2021, you're going to see so much come to fruition. All right, up next we have Leo Rising. So this full moon is happening for you in the 7th house. And you have Uranus being squared in the 10th house. So I definitely feel like relationship stuff is really what you guys are going to be working on this month. So I pulled the tarot card 5 of Cups for you guys. And this is interesting because you see how she has her back to these 2 cups? She spilt these over. And so she's looking at them and being kind of sad about what she's lost. But then she has two cups still that remain, and she has her back to them. So she's not really recognizing the worthiness of what she has, the value of what she has. And it's interesting that this full moon is happening on the axis of your relationships and your personal self with the first house. So I do feel like leading up to this point in time, maybe there was a point where you weren't really embracing or fully recognizing how much abundance was in your life, how much love was already in your life. And I think it's funny because Leo is the most heart-centered sign that there is. And we're entering into Leo season. So I feel like right now in August, you're being fully activated and fully coming alive. And your relationships are being illuminated to help support you through that process. And this past of focusing on the negative is now going to be left behind. And with Uranus in the 10th house, what you need to do is focus on the foundation of your career. And you might have more unexpected changes coming in your relationship or your career to be more supportive of your life purpose, to activate that heart chakra, and to also have you focus on all the positive and beautiful things in your life. Okay. So Virgo rising, this full moon is happening in your 6th house, and then you have the square with Uranus happening in the 9th house. So whenever I think of the 6th house, I think of service. And it's funny because I also pulled the 6 of Pentacles for you guys. So 2 6s. And what's interesting is that Virgo, the sign of Virgo, is typically ruled by the 6th house. So to have this moon here, I feel like it's really focused on your service to others and the way that you help people in your daily life. And so I think that there's going to be new insights and new revelations coming for you in the area of the way that you show up for other people. And even just the way that you show up day to day, because your day-to-day actions, who you are, what you do, how you take care of yourself, also influences other people. And so I definitely feel like this full moon for you guys is definitely about just taking it to the mundane level and looking at how you can change things to be more supportive of you and of your beliefs and philosophies about life, because that's what's happening with the Uranus square in the 9th house. Like the 9th house rules our beliefs and our philosophies. So how can you align your life a little bit more to be more reflective of your higher self, of your beliefs about life? And how can you expand yourself more through more opportunities of traveling, of learning, of teaching? I feel like that is going to be the focus for you guys. So you can expect some changes in either of those areas in your day-to-day life, in the way that you show up to serve people, in your health. And I also feel like the foundation that you need to really focus on is more about learning so that you can then teach that and share that with other people. Because the feeling I'm getting from the 6th house and the 6 of Pentacles is a desire to share. Look how she uses gifts and she's giving them to people. She is sharing her abundance. And I feel like with Uranus in the 9th house, you're going to be learning new things. You're going to have changes in your ideas, and then you're going to go ahead and start sharing them with the world. So you're going to see this come more to fruition in 2021, but that's super exciting. All right, Libra Rising. So Libra Rising, this is me. You are experiencing this full moon happening in your 5th house. And Uranus is currently traveling through your 8th house very, very slowly. And so this is a really cool time for you guys, because I think that having a full moon in the 5th house is really beautiful, especially in Leo season, because Leo rules the 5th house traditionally. And so I see this as being a really creative and awakening time. So any project that you've been working on up to this point in time, I feel like it was really emotionally fulfilling for you, because you guys got the Queen of Cups. It's just like you're totally in your element. You're very intuitive. The creative projects that you've been working on up until this time that you're seeing sort of come to fruition at the start of this full moon, it's awakening this side of you where you feel like you're just in flow with life. So this is a really beautiful one for Libra risings. I definitely feel like any unexpected changes or insights or news is going to support you on this creative path. It could be creating a course, a book. It could be creating music, anything that you create. I see this being an extension of you and really fulfilling you and being an extension of your higher self because you're very intuitive and in flow with whatever you're making. And so the foundation that you really need to focus on is your limiting beliefs right now, because Uranus moving through the eighth house, which is of limiting beliefs and of a number of other things, other people's finances. It can be your deep connection with other people, specifically your relationships. So that foundation needs to be worked on in order for you to then flourish in 2021 for this creative project that you're now starting to finalize and wrap up, in order for this big project to really come through for you in 2021 and have bigger results. You're going to have to first put in that work with the Uranus foundation, making any changes to the way that you approach life, to have deeper intimacy with your loved ones, to manage your finances in a different way, to manage your thoughts in a different way. And when I say finances, I mean shared resources, not just your finances. So think about it that way. But I see this being a really positive time for you guys. Okay, up next we have Scorpio Rising. So this full moon is happening in your fourth house of home and family, and it's squaring Uranus in the seventh house of relationships. So this is pretty big for you guys. Whenever something is happening on the major axes of the chart, which is the first, seventh house, fourth, and 10th house, whenever something happens within these houses, it's a pretty foundational change for us. So I think this is going to be a big deal for you guys. But I see this being a positive thing because I pulled the card Ace of Pentacles, which definitely represents new career opportunities. And it's funny because the full moon is happening in your fourth house of home and family, but the sun is currently in the 10th house of career. So it can really stimulate both areas of your life, your career and your family. So I see the culmination of the fruition coming into your stability within your family, but I feel like this could be through the avenue of your career, or it could just be any kind of financial opportunity. So when I see the fourth house, I think of family, but I also think of your financial stability and your roots to support your family, because you have to have that foundation in order to support everyone. And so this full moon here, I feel like is more directed towards that. But it's interesting with the square to Uranus in the seventh house, what you need to really focus on is the foundation of your relationships. There might have to be changes to the way you approach your relationships. There might have to be changes to the way that you work within the home, or that you have your career. It could be you working from home, things like this. There has to be some sort of change in order for that foundation to be stronger with your relationships, to support your home life. And I think this all has to do with your career as well. So your career, your home life, and your relationships are really where the spotlight is right now. But specifically for you, I think the changes are going to be happening within your financial stability and your family. Okay, so up next we have Sagittarius. So for you guys, this full moon is happening in your third house. And Uranus is currently being squared in the sixth house. So when I think of third house, it's this traditionally ruled by Gemini, the duality. And it's funny because I pulled cards for you guys, and you and Capricorn are the only one that got two cards, and you guys got the Empress and the Emperor. So these are the duality, right? These are the exact same cards, like the male and female version of the cards. And so I'm seeing this duality here with the Gemini, like the moon in the third house, which is ruled by Gemini. So I feel like this is, first of all, a balancing of the masculine and feminine for you. I think that's going to become really key during this full moon in order for you to feel truly balanced. But I also see a duality here of you really owning lots of different sides of yourself with this third house, and maybe dabbling in stuff, communicating, and having the culmination, the full moon, is really shining its light on these third house activities, which could be social media, the way that you show up online. It could be the relationship you have with your siblings. But for some reason, I keep being drawn back to these two cards, where I feel like it's more about the duality within yourself, your ability to explore, especially with the sun in the ninth house, which is about exploration. I feel like it's you bringing your personal discoveries and using them and teaching them to people. And then with Uranus in the sixth house, you really need to focus on your foundation of your daily routines. So examine the way that you show up for yourself and take care of yourself and your body every day. And I think that that's going to help inform the way that you show up for other people when you start teaching and sharing with other people. So whenever I think about Uranus during this situation, it's not only where we can have change, but also where we can start to focus our energies more on, because we need to have the sixth house strong in order for the third house manifestations to really come through, to really come to fruition. So when I focus on the sixth house, I'm thinking about your work, your daily routine, your health, and the way that you take care of yourself, and the way that you're in service for others. So you could even just go and reassess, like, what's my mission and who am I trying to help? Who am I serving? I think that's going to be a really key aspect of what's going on with Sagittarius. And just expect the unexpected right now. You might change who you're serving. You might change the way that you communicate. You might change the way you show up on social media. You might change the things that you're teaching or that you're learning. Those can all be things that happen to you at this time. Okay, up next we have Capricorn Rising. So this full moon is happening in your second house, and then it's squaring Uranus in the fifth house. So whenever I think of the second house, it's just like automatically money. And it's funny because Uranus is in Taurus, which also has to do with money. So I'm definitely sensing this theme of finances being a core focus for you guys, where you might have more changes happening. So you might have insights and downloads about how you can make money in a different way at this time. You might have new opportunities fall into your lap. I'm definitely feeling that there are some big changes happening for you guys, because I picked two cards for you guys, and one of them was the Tower. The Tower always represents change, radical change in our lives. But then up next, you got the King of Swords. So it's not, to me, it's not a negative change. To me, it's a change where you're fully stepping into your leadership. You're having more clarity about what you're going to do to make a living moving forward. And I feel like things are going to start coming in for you. And this is just the beginning. In 2021, when Saturn and Jupiter start to move through this sign, you're going to feel those benefits really start to come through for you if you've been working on your creative self-expression. And that's where Uranus is. So wherever there's a square to Uranus right now, we have to focus on building that foundation in order for these manifestations to occur. So we might have to have more changes, but also this focus on the foundation of it. So the fifth house, Uranus in the fifth house, is all about your creativity, your creative self-expression. So whatever you're doing right now, it could be writing a book, it could be creating music, whatever creative thing that you're working on right now needs to have a lot of attention and maybe needs to have more tweaks, so you might get more insights, downloads, and opportunities related to those things. So I see you starting to make more money off of what you're creating, essentially, and stepping into more of this intelligent leadership role within your own career or business. Okay, Aquarius Rising. So for you guys, this is going to be a really big full moon because it's happening in your first house of identity. And I see there being a swift change for you, and that's possibly because it's square Uranus. So Uranus always brings sudden, unexpected change. And I feel like for you, this could be in the area of not only your identity or your relationships, but your family as well. And so if you have some kind of change in that, just embrace it, because it's going to help you move further towards your purpose. And you will start to see this fully manifest in 2021, and everything's going to make a lot more sense then. But right now, I think you're going to get more and more clarity as this full moon illuminates your personal sign. So it's really going to be a crazy, crazy time for you. And I pulled the card, the Eight of Wands, which is all about quick, fast movement. And so for you guys, this is what I'm feeling, that you're going to have some radical changes in your life and who you are and the way that you show up. And part of it is going to require you to really focus on the foundation of your home, your family, and your finances. So if you don't have those things figured out, you really don't have the safety and security to then go out and make big changes, to then go out and travel. When you're traveling, you have to have a home that you're leaving from, right? I mean, you technically don't, but the best way to travel is to know that you have something to come back to. And so this person is speeding away, going to explore and change their life, knowing that they have a strong home and family and finances to support them. And so for you moving through these big changes, I think you're going to get lots of changes and insight about yourself and about your home and family. And I think it's important to adapt and create and fully embrace those changes, and also focus your energy into creating a more stable home life to support the changes happening within yourself and your identity as well. Okay, and the very last one we have is Pisces Rising. So this full moon is happening in your 12th house, and it's squaring Uranus in the 3rd house. So it's funny because I keep pulling cards for everyone, and they're so related to what's actually going on astrologically. So having a full moon in the 12th house is interesting because, this is the 12th house is typically the house that's hidden, right? It's like the things that are behind the scenes, the things that are spiritual, that are unseen, that are intangible. And so I feel like a lot of the benefits for you guys and the culmination that you're seeing right now is intangible. It's a lot of the internal work. And I think as you move forward in 2021, you're going to see this develop even more. And I think this is also coming through for you as having changes in the 3rd house, because there's a square with Uranus in the 3rd house. And we know that there's going to be radical change anytime we see Uranus. And we also know that we need to put more energy and emphasis into whatever house Uranus is in right now, because we need to have that foundation in order for the 12th house manifestations, in order for your spiritual development to come to full fruition. So when I look at Uranus in the 3rd house, I think of collaboration. I think of working with other people, communicating, sharing ideas online, and coming together as a community. So that's going to be a really key pivotal point for you to focus on for the next few months, because I feel like all this personal development and spiritual connection and working through your subconscious minds and old patterns and past life patterns that are coming up, all those benefits are really going to come to fruition when you have a strong foundation in the area of collaboration. I know they seem pretty disconnected, but they're not, because of these planets. And it's funny because I also pulled the 3 of Cups, which is about collaboration, celebration. So I think that this is going to be a really profound, deep, spiritual, soulful change for you guys coming up. And I think you're going to start to see what's happening in 2021 is that you're going to have a deeper connection to who you are and to your community as you collaborate with more people and as you step up as a leader in your community. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.